There are many forms of apprenticeships on the market, but the main idea behind them, the thrust of the thinking, is that there are a whole lot of people who are on benefits, who are especially young people between 16 to 24, who already are being put onto the scrap heap, and they can so easily be lifted out of that with a bit of encouragement, with a bit of a nudge. And so the apprenticeship programs that we use are designed so that we can take a set of requirements we have in our company for places where we could put young people, and agencies are then brought in to train them, to bring them up to the work culture standards that we want. Once they're ready, our commitment is as simple as we will make you an offer if your interview is successful. If it is, you come off benefits and you spend some time with us and you go to college. So that it is made easy, and it's being made easier by governments encouraging businesses by putting some finance behind it. So we get £1,500 for every apprentice we take on. That young person gets an opportunity they might not have otherwise had. In London, there's more programs coming up now to make that even easier. So we're helping long-term unemployed people not become a statistic, and we're getting someone into our workforce at a reduced cost. So it's a benefit for both sides. If we didn't do anything about the large number of and growing number of young unemployed people around us in our midst, we not only have an economic issue, we have a social issue which leads to unrest, which leads to the kind of things we saw in the summer last year. We don't need any of that. It's damaging to business. We could instead be engaging with young people, and we could be working around their specific needs to get them off benefits and into work. And government can see one less statistic, we can get one more employee and make our environment more harmonious at the same time. So that's why it's a win-win. Well, the apprentice programme hasn't got off to a great start. I've written about it in the Director, that quite a few of the agencies that have been employed and people who are supposed to be acting on behalf of business often act on behalf of government more than doing on behalf of business. The government doesn't understand the language of business, and they contract out to agencies who they presume understand the language of business, and quite often they don't either. And the business itself, companies like ours that have in the past undertaken these apprentice programs, have found that they don't actually work because the agency doesn't understand the culture of the company. They've learned from those mistakes, and better programs are coming all the time. There's a new biz initiative called the Employer Ownership Program, which is making a much more direct financial contribution back to the business, not in terms of cash, but in terms of tax incentives. The volunteering programs that the Mayor of London's doing, for example, are going to be making that apprentice period even longer. So a volunteer can spend 6 weeks prior to an apprenticeship, and so that makes a 12-week apprenticeship program, which means that they're much more likely to be ready and able to work at the end of it. One of the reasons that apprenticeship schemes have failed historically is the oscillation between governments, and not just between different governments, but in the same government. Different ministers come and go, different officials come and go, and they all have their own interpretations and spins and want to make changes because that's what politicians do. Each time they do make a change, it's up to businesses who are deemed to need to step up, whereas my view is it needs to be the other way around. They should start by asking us what we want and go away and deliver it, rather than come up with a consultation process that only involves us at the end. One of the things that we're always told that when people who study business studies, which doesn't include me, but I've heard of people who do, they say that companies that invest in their businesses during a recession are the best and most likely to succeed when they come out. One of the things that we know now about investment in a business is not just in our technology or in our infrastructure, but it's in our people. People, especially in the kind of sector that I'm in, hospitality, drive the business. So if we're investing in people now, when we get to a better place, we're going to have a better, more effective company to deal with the good times.